final word to the fans, thank you for your patience, your support, your own wisdom collectively and individually, and we promise you that we're 100% committed to bring us back to the level that you would expect us to be at. So we appreciate that.
This isn't playtime. This isn't your typical neighborhood book club. This is certainly not a spot where emotions are evaluated on a curve. This is a high-stakes arena where each Sunday resembles a corporate showdown, complete with shoulder pads and fierce competition. Owners aren't throwing down big bucks just to roll the dice. Winning is the expectation. They anticipate strong leadership. Above all, they demand respect from the building, the locker room, and the league as a whole. However, there's an issue. Arthur Blank just faced a tough truth that landed like a blindside hit. Sources indicate that he might have poured millions into a head coach who lacks the respect of the league. That's a significant concern. That's a major emergency situation, no doubt about it.
And Kevin Stefanski gonna do with this quarterback situation?
He better figure it out. You got Michael Penix, who is almost a second coming of Shador, the left-hand version. You seen what you did with Shador, and it was unacceptable. Who has gotten better from the player's perspective with Kevin Stefanski? The Atlanta Falcons, they're a young team. You got Michael Penix as your quarterback, Drake London as your receiver, Kyle Pitts. Your team is young. You're in.
Rumors are buzzing around a potential firing that could be one of the most shocking and reputation-destroying moves the league has ever witnessed. This isn't just some drawn-out off-season chatter, folks. It's been just around 40 days since Kevin Stefanski put pen to paper on that impressive 5-year contract to take the helm of the Atlanta Falcons. 40 days. That's barely enough time to locate the coffee machine in this place. In that brief period, it seems that chaos has managed to establish itself as a permanent fixture within the organization. Let's dive into the growing list of issues piling up quicker than those league office fines. Initially, sources indicate that he pushed away Michael Penix Jr., the promising quarterback viewed as the city's future star. Next up is the citywide protest buzz. And let me tell you, that's not the kind of headline you want when you're aiming to foster a strong culture. To cap it all off, the NFL Players Association report card allegedly labeled him the worst head coach in the league.
It states Kevin Stefanski earned NFL worst coach grade on NFLPA report cards. Now, from my understanding, these report cards are no longer being made to the public, but an NFL reporter leaked this year's grade, and they don't look good for Atlanta Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski. According to an NFL insider, Diana Rosen stated Kevin Stefanski earned a C- grade in his final year coaching the Cleveland.
That's definitely not the kind of trophy you want to display on your wall. That's the type of label that clings to your name like a permanent marker. Sources close to Arthur Blank indicate that he is far from mildly annoyed. He isn't keeping an eye on the situation, he's livid. And it's not just directed at the fans or the media chatter. Sources suggest that his frustration has now turned inward, aimed squarely at his own front office. When an owner begins to eye his advisor with suspicion, the atmosphere in the room shifts dramatically. Now, this is where things really start to get complicated. Rumors are circulating that Blank is not pleased with Matt Ryan for suggesting the hire. Take a moment to consider that. When a franchise legend's endorsement begins to raise eyebrows, it stirs up tension among the top brass. No one wants to feel like they bought a high-end ride only to discover it's a total dud after just 40 days. Additionally, there are reports indicating that Blank is concerned that Stefanski's alleged toxic reputation might negatively impact the locker room dynamics before training camp kicks off. Training camp hasn't even kicked off, and we're already diving into the need for some serious cultural damage control. This goes beyond just playbooks and press conferences. Blank is said to be uninterested in receiving apologies. He's looking for answers. He's looking for a way out. Kevin Stefanski received the lowest rating among all coaches in the NFL Players Association's poll conducted by his own players. Hey, Kevin Stefanski received the lowest grade. I believe he got a C or maybe a C-. Do you know what that means? It's telling me, man, they're not feeling your way of communicating. Back in my corporate America days, they always emphasized the importance of those training sessions we went through. And he mentioned, keep in mind, employees don't leave companies. Employees leave their managers. As the direct point of contact for your team, you are the one who signs off on their timesheets. You're the one who handles the review to help them boost their bonus earnings. You're the one who handles progressive discipline. You're the one who trains and coaches them. You handle compliance, right? You're the average fan right there alongside them, experiencing it all together. When an employee decides to leave a job, they're not walking away from the CEO. They don't stop the company or abandon the products or services it offers. They move on from you. It shows that Kevin Stefanski's stubbornness in putting Dylan Gabriel out there was a total no-win scenario. They couldn't possibly bring him back as they believed he was a fraud. But here's the twist. It's not as simple as waking up one day, deciding to fire a coach who has nearly 5 years left on a guaranteed contract and expecting everything to be fine. We're looking at buyout money in the tens of millions of dollars range. That's the type of figure that keeps accountants tossing and turning at night. Unless you uncover a loophole, and this is where the drama intensifies, much like a thrilling fourth quarter comeback drive. It looks like the Falcons' legal team is really getting into the nitty-gritty of things, according to a leaked report. Examining the NFLPA report card and the rumored locker room issues as possible reasons to nullify the contract. That phrase, conduct detrimental, is pure legal gold if you can make it work. If the ownership can demonstrate that the coach's actions harm the team's operations or reputation, it creates an opportunity. An incredibly pricey door, but still just a door. Take a moment to really consider what that implies. Not only letting him go, but also eliminating his guaranteed money. That would be something we've never seen before. That would be totally embarrassing. That would resonate throughout every front office in the league like a clear signal. Coaches across the NFL would definitely find themselves reviewing their contracts more closely. If you're curious about whether Stefanski is on the verge of losing not only his job, but also every guaranteed dollar that comes with it, you know the drill. Make sure to subscribe and smash that bell icon, ASAP, because things are heating up quickly. All right, it's time to dive into the contrast between what we expect and what actually happens. When a team brings in a two-time NFL Coach of the Year, you can almost predict how things will unfold. Every relationship goes through that initial excitement. Grins during the press conference. Players are in agreement. The owner is shaking hands as if he just sealed the deal of a lifetime. You're looking for alignment. You're looking for excitement. You're looking for a positive outlook. What you might not see coming is the chaos that brews before the fresh coat of paint in the new office even has a chance to dry. However, behind the scenes in Atlanta, the situation reportedly appears far from a honeymoon. Seems like a group chat took a turn for the worse. Just a month after Arthur Blank passed the reins of the franchise to Kevin Stefanski, reports suggest that the atmosphere in the building is quite tense. Some insiders are saying it's teetering on the brink of a mutiny. That's not typical off-season talk. That's some serious pirate ship vibes. Arthur Blank, a billionaire with a wealth of experience, is said to be walking the halls and reconsidering what was meant to be the most significant hire of the decade. Second-guessing at this stage is like experiencing buyer's remorse in the business world. And here's the plot twist that truly ignited this powder keg. The disagreement is said to have nothing to do with defensive strategies, clock management, or free agency finances. We're diving into the quarterback situation, focusing on the buzz around Stefanski's push to go after a new signal caller. There's talk of possibly moving on from Michael Penix Jr. before he even gets a fair chance to prove himself in the new system. That's daring, that's intense, and depending on your perspective, that's either groundbreaking or foolhardy. For a lot of Falcons fans, Michael Penix Jr. is seen as the embodiment of what's to come. He's dynamic, full of energy, and represents the dawn of a new chapter for the franchise. Arthur Blank is said to have crafted this roster with a distinct vision focused on speed, energy, and long-term growth. When a new coach seemingly pushes to shift away from that key player before the season kicks off, it comes across as less of a team effort and more like an attempt to seize control. Ownership prefers to keep things predictable with their depth chart, particularly at this stage. The intensity is said to be escalating, as this situation goes beyond a mere football dispute. It's deep and thought-provoking. It's all about strategy. It's all about who steers the ship of the franchise. When that disagreement pops up just days after a huge contract is signed, you know alarms are going off. The huge red flag that popped up right after Stefanski signed that deal is now being seen in a totally different light. What once seemed like strong leadership could now be seen within the organization as going too far. In the NFL, things change in the blink of an eye. Respect travels at lightning speed. Once it's gone, good luck trying to reclaim it. Here we are, 40 days into a 5-year deal, and the drama is thick with whispers of legal battles, locker room discontent, front office friction, and ownership outrage. That's definitely not a chill beginning. That's turbulence at cruising altitude. If this situation escalates into an attempt to void the contract, we're looking at more than just another coaching change. This franchise is redefining the dynamics of power between owners and head coaches. That would rock the league. The NFL has a way of forgiving losses every now and then. Chaos is not forgiven. Right now, it feels like chaos is at the Falcons' doorstep. Let's dive into the NFL PA report cards. These aren't just random fan polls or social media hot takes. These surveys are top secret and conducted across the league, allowing players to anonymously evaluate their teams from an insider's perspective. This is the real deal from the locker room. This is the ultimate temperature check. And in a twist of fate, those grades suddenly emerged into the media limelight, capturing attention in a dramatic fashion. When that goes down, it's always bad news for someone. Now, this is where things get rough for the new head coach of Atlanta. Insider Diana Rossini reports that in his tumultuous final season, coaching the Cleveland Browns in 2025, Kevin Stefanski received a C- grade from his own locker room. A C-. There's no space for growth there. That's not what we're creating. Your players are subtly indicating that this isn't effective. When it's anonymous, you can bet the honesty levels are sky high. He was rated really low, no doubt about it. According to reports, he has been officially labeled the worst head coach in the entire league by the players who suited up and gave their all for him every Sunday. Take a moment to really think about that. This wasn't an analysis of the media. This wasn't just rival fan bases messing around. This feedback came straight from the players who were in the facility day in and day out. That's a significant injury. That's a serious blow to leadership credibility. And just to set the record straight, this wasn't just a few bench players grumbling about their playing time. The backup tight end is looking for more targets. This was characterized as a fundamental failure in leadership and culture. That term, systemic, really resonates. That indicates it wasn't just a single meeting. It wasn't just a single bad speech. It wasn't just a single awkward moment. It indicates a trend. Picture yourself in the shoes of the Falcons front office. You believe you're bringing on board a coach who's won the Coach of the Year award twice. You believe you're getting an offensive mastermind who simply faced some unfortunate injury setbacks. You believe you're getting a top-tier engine that merely required a little fine-tuning. But then, the invoices begin to appear. And it starts to feel less like a stroke of bad luck and more like a breach of trust. In the NFL, trust is paramount. A losing streak can be weathered as long as the locker room has faith in you. A locker room that ignores you is a tough place to thrive. When players tune out, no amount of creativity in your playbook will make a difference. You're signaling strategies into the void. And here's the crazy thing. One standout voice spotted the warning signs from a distance. As soon as Atlanta revealed that Stefanski was joining the NFC South, it sent waves through the league. The national media offered a courteous round of applause. Solid choice, experienced leadership, a move for consistency. That was the story being told. Composed, measured, and expert. But Cam Newton, he broke that mold right away. When a former NFL MVP grabs the mic and keeps it real, you can't help but pay attention. Cam wasn't talking like someone trying to stir the pot for attention. He spoke with the insight of someone who has experienced life in NFL locker rooms firsthand. A person who grasps the intricacies of ego, chemistry, identity, and pressure in the most intense situations. He went straight to the point. Cam was straightforward. He played it recklessly. He didn't mention, "Let's wait it out." He cut right to the heart of the matter, making it clear that he thought this hire was on a path to disaster. No turbulence, no bumps in the road. Catastrophe. What set his criticism apart was this. He wasn't all about the X's and O's. He didn't analyze route combinations or third down percentages. He focused in on something far more impactful. Exploring personality management, particularly the way Stefanski has historically dealt with various player types. That's when things started to get a bit tense. Cam took a bold stance against the Falcons' ownership, directly questioning how they could witness the events in the AFC North over the last 2 years and still think this was the right cultural match for Atlanta. That word fit is crucial, because coaching goes beyond just intelligence. It's all about alignment. To emphasize his argument, Newton highlighted the management of one of the league's most controversial rookies. And this is where the attention intensified even more. In the 2025 season, the Cleveland Browns made a notable move by selecting Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round of the draft, under the guidance of Stefanski. 5th round, and the drama is already unfolding. There's pressure in the air, a big name in the mix, and all eyes are on this moment, capturing national attention. When you pick a player like that, it's not just about the skill set, it's about the story that comes with them. All right, so what went down next? Cam Newton stated that this wasn't just a straightforward rookie learning curve. This player definitely needs some time to get used to the speed of the NFL. Newton presented it as something more profound, a calculated and methodical rejection of opportunity. That's a major allegation in the world of football. Cam stated that Shedeur Sanders embodies a unique aspect of the current NFL landscape. He embodies confidence. He embodies true authenticity. He embodies a fresh wave of athletes who embrace their true selves and refuse to conform to old-fashioned standards. A presence like that commands respect. This is the moment when Newton's warning truly resonated. He pointed out that coaches with a rigid mindset often have a tough time understanding players who bring that kind of swagger and cultural identity to the game. It's not about being wrong or causing disruption. It's about shaking up the usual power dynamics within the organization. That's not a problem with the playbook. That's a matter of philosophy. To assess a coach's ability to manage pressure, observe how he interacts with a young player who is under the intense scrutiny of a massive spotlight. Is he a mentor? Is he a source of empowerment? Is he a builder? Or does he downplay and limit? Cam argued that what went down in Cleveland wasn't about development. It was all about suppression. If that trend carried over with Stefanski to Atlanta, the Falcons would be getting more than just a coach plagued by injury misfortune. They were taking on lingering cultural conflicts. Let's set the record straight. Atlanta is definitely not Cleveland. New city, fresh vibe, unique locker room standards. The Falcons fan base is incredibly passionate, outspoken, and fully committed to their identity. When people think a young quarterback isn't getting the right treatment or a fair shot, that story travels quickly. All right, let's bring it all together. A leaked NFL PA grade labels him as the bottom head coach in the league. There are reports circulating about some unhappiness in the locker room. Public criticism from a former MVP who gets the ins and outs of leadership dynamics, with the past handling of Shedeur Sanders now being scrutinized closely. This isn't merely off-season chatter. There's a lot of reputational pressure mounting from various directions. The question buzzing in Atlanta right now is straightforward. Did the Falcons opt for stability, or are they in for a wild ride masked as experience? In this league, your reputation spreads quicker than any deep pass can fly. Once doubt enters the building, it doesn't just linger silently in the shadows. It's spreading. They just can't connect with it. They just won't accept it. In the end, they attempt to hold it back. That's where the criticism really hits home. It's pretty obvious.
This is precisely what folks are referring to when they discuss culture clashes in the NFL. It's all about the grind. It goes beyond just arm strength or playbooks. It's all about the connection. It's all about whether a coach truly gets the personality of the player sitting across from him in that quarterback meeting room. The scene in Cleveland created an atmosphere that left many feeling uneasy. A young, incredibly skilled quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, seemed to take on the weight of the offensive struggles, all while the roster around him continued to change like a revolving door. Veterans coming in, veterans going out, changes happening weekly, chaos all around. Amidst all the chaos, Shedeur Sanders stood out as the one in the brightest spotlight. All right, let's dive into the section that critics just can't seem to let go of. He didn't receive the care he needed. He didn't receive consistent development. He was reportedly confined in a box, restricted, controlled, contained. When a quarterback who usually exudes confidence and presence begins to appear constrained rather than empowered,
fans quickly realize that it's more than just a scheme problem. That's a real brain teaser. When you take a step back and examine the pattern at play, the overall situation begins to weigh on you. Stefanski didn't just switch teams, he transformed his entire environment. It's unrealistic to take a coach from a rigid, traditional environment and throw him into a totally different cultural scene without anticipating some fireworks. Cleveland and Atlanta are definitely not just slight variations of one another. These are distinct realms when it comes to energy, identity, and what's anticipated. Atlanta stands out as a major hub of culture. The city fosters innovation. It flows with a beat. The fan base is actively engaged with the team. They embody it. They sense it. They showcase it. Leading a franchise in a city like Atlanta means you're doing more than just calling plays. You're driving something beyond just the game. There's a certain swagger that comes with it. Pride is on the line. The franchise has a strong cultural identity that's tightly connected to its community. That means the head coach needs to step up and do more than just sketch out plays on a whiteboard. He needs to make that connection. Now picture the visuals. Your coach has faced criticism for not effectively managing a player due to cultural differences. Now, imagine that same coach leading a team packed with young, vibrant, and dynamic players who flourish on confidence and their unique styles. That's a significant change. Looks like we're headed for an epic showdown. This isn't about pointing fingers or suggesting anyone has ill motives. It's all about the fit. Fit is crucial in the NFL. One locker room can bring out your brilliance, while another might leave you totally out of sync. Various cities require unique approaches to leadership. If that alignment is even a bit off, tension ramps up quickly. Cam Newton jumped into the discussion and posed the question that's been resonating throughout Atlanta ever since. If Kevin Stefanski managed Shedeur Sanders the way critics suggest in one market, what proof exists that things will dramatically change in a different one? Growth is achievable. Absolutely. Evolution takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight because of a change in location. And we can't overlook what's going on in that Falcons locker room at this moment. This is definitely not a slow rebuild. This isn't a long-term, 5-year patient project. This roster is loaded with dynamic, youthful talent, primed to make an impact right away. Michael Penix Jr. is standing out with an incredible arm and soaring expectations. Drake London is soaring over defenders as if he's snatching rebounds in the postseason. Kyle Pitts is a matchup nightmare on every single snap. Linebackers struggle to keep pace, and safeties simply lack the size to contend with him. Bijan Robinson is changing the game when it comes to versatility at the running back spot. This isn't some old engine just sitting around, waiting for a fix. This is a high-performance Ferrari sitting in the driveway, keys ready to go in the ignition. It just takes someone ready to hit the gas with full confidence. This is the moment when anxiety starts to set in for fans. Rather than diving into tailored strategies and growth plans, it seems the new coach is already on the hunt for quarterback options ahead of training camp kicking off. That's not what you call patience. That's not a gradual assessment. That comes off as pretty intense. Drafting and constructing a team around a young core brings with it the expectation of mentorship. At that point, players require a coach who hones their strengths, tailors the system to match their style, and fosters their natural growth. In the NFL, confidence can be incredibly delicate. Construct it, and you unleash greatness. Undermine it, and everything can go downhill fast. When the vibe starts to suggest that the quarterback is already under pressure before he even steps onto the field in the new system, the locker room definitely picks up on that energy. Receivers know it well. Offensive linemen definitely experience it. The dynamics of leadership are changing. Once doubt sneaks in, it takes off like a blaze. This goes beyond just a conversation about football. It's all in the mind. It's all about the culture. It's all about strategy. Will Stefanski be able to adjust his leadership approach to align with Atlanta's identity? Is he capable of empowering rather than limiting? Can he embrace the swagger instead of trying to tone it down? Atlanta is all about keeping it lively. Atlanta craves boldness. The Falcons roster is packed with potential, brimming with youth, speed, and a vibrant personality. This group has the potential to energize a city if managed the right way. It takes a coach who gets that allowing players to show their individuality doesn't undermine discipline. It's a valuable resource. Cam Newton's warning was not about aggression. It was all about compatibility. He wasn't doubting intelligence, he was challenging adaptability. In the current NFL landscape, the ability to adapt could very well be the most crucial quality for a head coach. Now the Falcons are walking a fine line. On one hand, there's a coach packed with credentials and a wealth of experience. On the flip side, there's a city and roster that crave connection and growth. If those two sides come together, Atlanta could really light up in an incredible way. Players don't just get better overnight because someone gives them a bigger playbook. They don't just tap into some secret abilities when the guy with the clipboard is silently doubting them. Confidence in the NFL is everything. When a quarterback picks up on uncertainty from the head coach, it ripples through the locker room like a hot trade rumor before free agency. That's exactly why the tension in that building is palpable. This is not an exaggerated response. This franchise is facing the reality that its chance at a championship could close before it even gets a chance to fully unfold. When young stars are made to play tight, hesitant, and paranoid football due to leadership they don't completely trust, the outcomes become evident quickly. Passes get hurried. Plays are often questioned. Playmakers begin to strategize rather than just respond. And when that occurs, the advantage vanishes. The Falcons aren't set up for a conservative style of play. They possess incredible speed. They bring the heat. They possess a unique character. Such talent requires unwavering belief to be infused into it daily. No quiet doubt lingering with each play. The weight of the pressure, the whirlwind of chaotic elements, and the palpable tension have all converged right on Arthur Blank's desk. Let's be clear, this is far from the vision he agreed to. He didn't bring this hire on board just to see the foundation of his long-term vision begin to crumble due to internal strife. He watched as the former regime selected Michael Penix Jr. in the draft. He caught sight of the flashes. He spotted the skilled weaponry. He recognized the moments of leadership. Owners at that level make calculated investments. They recognize potential the way stockbrokers identify breakout companies. Arthur Blank knows precisely the potential this roster has when led in the right direction. He didn't create this to just float in the realm of average. He constructed it to make a serious run well into January. He brought in Kevin Stefanski, believing he was adding that crucial final piece, a seasoned veteran who could take a talented roster and elevate it into serious Super Bowl discussions. The goal was clear. That was the game plan. Now, reports are coming in that he's locked in closed-door meetings, clearly frustrated, trying to wrap his head around why the coach he just paid a hefty sum to seems poised to disrupt the very foundation of the team. That's a pretty significant disagreement. That's what we call structural tension. When the ownership and head coach begin to clash, the whole organization can sense the tension. Blank didn't hire Stefanski to blow up the game plan. He brought him in to safeguard it. He anticipated alignment. He anticipated teamwork. He anticipated a person who would step into that locker room, survey the young talent, and declare, "Let's construct our future around this." The story unfolding hints at a power struggle simmering just out of sight. And this is where things take an unexpected turn. The owner is intensely devoted to safeguarding his promising young franchise quarterback, a talent he believes has the potential to shape the future of Falcons football for the next 10 years. On the flip side, there's a new head coach who seems keen on bringing in his own quarterback, a player tailored to fit his system, someone he can trust completely. From a philosophical standpoint, that makes sense. Coaches are eager to leave their mark on the roster, but the timing is crucial. Understanding the context is crucial. Culture is important. Making a quarterback shift before training camp kicks off isn't merely about reshuffling the depth chart. A message is being sent. Messages in NFL locker rooms are always buzzing with energy. Veterans understand the nuances. Young players are keeping a sharp eye on things. Leaders assess the vibe. A misstep at a critical time can shatter cohesion, even before the first preseason play begins. The current power struggle seems to transcend mere football tactics. It's all about having the upper hand. It's all about the path forward. It's all about who really holds the reins for the future of the franchise. When that tension spills into public discourse, it doesn't merely generate headlines. It raises uncertainty. In the NFL, uncertainty comes at a high cost. The Falcons are staring down a prime opportunity right there in that locker room. A youthful, ambitious generational core poised for competition. But opportunities in this league vanish quickly. Injuries are a part of the game. Contracts come to an end. Shifts in momentum. Internal struggles are a luxury you can't afford when other competitors are honing their skills in silence. Arthur Blank gets it. That's why the reports of him being furious definitely seem on point. They definitely have a sense of urgency. He put his money into something solid. He put his money into leadership. He put his money into someone who was expected to take what was already established to the next level. If he's focused on the foundation shaking, that's an issue he can't overlook. This isn't about creating drama for the sake of entertainment. This is focused on the path for a franchise. Is Stefanski able to adjust and sync up with the ownership's vision? Can communication repair whatever tension is rumored to exist? Will this situation escalate into a decision that catches everyone off guard, just weeks after it seemed unlikely? Let's get real for a moment. Championships aren't won by talent alone. Belief drives action. Alignment is key. Trust is everything. And if those pillars aren't solid, even the most explosive roster starts to feel fragile. The Falcons find themselves at a pivotal moment right now. One route paves the way for togetherness, development, and unleashing the complete capabilities of a youthful core. The other path brings friction, uncertainty, and a potential reset that no one desires at this stage of the game. The next few weeks will show us if this was just a minor bump in the road or the start of something much more significant. If you've been keeping up with this story and want the latest as it develops, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this merely off-season chatter, or is Atlanta poised on the edge of a potential explosion?